Hi, this is Steve Fleckenstein, AProstock Division Manager. I am here today to assist you on learning more about our AProstock program and specifically talking to you about some of the key elements of installation and fabrication of our materials. We'd like to have you study this presentation, and if you have any questions along the way or need some assistance, you are certainly always welcome to give us a call and talk to us more about some of the particulars about fabricating with polycarbonate and aluminum. I'd like to start the presentation today by looking at our first slide. I want you to be aware that we have available in the toolboxes on our website a selection of professionally designed, detailed fabrication and installation manuals. And we'd like you to know also that we have a variety of additional aluminum channels, tubes, connecting points, caulk, tape, lots of different ancillary products to help make your project have a successful outcome. When ordering material, there are two documents we'd like to have you take a look at. In your toolbox, you'll find the AProstock Performance Matrix and a AProstock quote request form. Both these forms and all documents within the toolboxes are specific to the system you are selecting. If you have them side by side at the time you fill out the order form, it might be a little easier, so printing one and then using the other on the screen might be a handy way to complete the document, the order request form simply. When asking for a quote, in AProstock, we ask you do not submit drawings, do not submit specifications. Call us for assistance. We'll help you with selecting a system. We'll help you with fabrication guidance and installation guidance. When your quote request is complete, you can fax or email it to Lori here at our office. She'll confirm receipt of the order, run through the quote through AProstock pricing calculators, add shipping and handling charges, all the details necessary to make sure your quote is submitted back to you, and we'll do that within an hour of receiving your quote request. Remember that we ship materials with AProstock as quickly as 2 weeks, so our lead time is very, very short. Here's another example of a completed quote request form, just to give you an idea how it works. You fill in the ordered by information, where you want the information, the materials shipped to, and then just check out the boxes. Identify the amount of polycarbonate sheet that you like and the length. Please round to the nearest foot with your length of your panels. There are some required accessories. We suggest you use mesh tape, so we show that as required accessory. And if you're putting in mullions, you're going to need to purchase some mullion end caps. We also make some of our edge channel, just so you're aware of it, and some of our mullion end caps with weep holes already prepped. So if you have a chance, please identify the amount of prepped material you'll need, and we'll ship that accordingly. Once the order form is complete, again, we'll check it over, and we'll get a price for you and get it back to you within an hour. Installation details. We're going to bring to you 30 years of daylighting experience in the use of these channels, and we'd like to share that information with you now. There are a lot of key elements to working with polycarbonate structured sheet and our aluminum channel systems that we've learned over these past many years. It starts with flashing your system. We recommend that you, when you install your flashing, that you install it about an inch, maybe an inch and a half above and beyond the system. Any water that might weep into the or leak into the system won't go into the finished product, but actually weep out the pre-drilled weep holes. When cutting aluminum, many of our fabricators certainly understand cutting aluminum. This is no secret. We recommend that you use a -6-degree carbide blade for the cleanest cut. A little wax lubrication will help on the cutting process, help prevent your material from jumping. We just always recommend that you wear safety glasses in the process. Weeping details. A lot of our material comes prepped, and one of the areas that we're prepping is we're drilling some of our channels with weep holes. However, if you prefer to drill those out yourself, we recommend that you drill them a couple of holes within an inch of each other using a certain size bit identified here, and about every 24 inches. The important thing here is that you drill not only through the base channel, but through the screw boss as well. So any water making its way on the other side of the screw boss will find its way through the weep holes. Notice the mullion cap in the picture below. The mullion cap comes in two fashions, one with 2 weep holes in it, and you get a mullion cap with no weep holes. Obviously, the mullion cap will fit at the bottom of the mullion, and the one without weep holes at the top. Caulking details. Just to make a quick note here, our systems are all dry glaze systems. So typically you do not caulk at all where polycarbonate and aluminum come together. There is one exception. We'll go into that in a few minutes here. But where caulking can be used is when the channel is built, the corners are built with the aluminum. You may want to caulk in those corners or as shown in these pictures here. Make sure you don't caulk near the weep holes so as to block them at all. When installing gasket, we have found that you have to press the gasket in place. Do not stretch it and do not roll it with a roller. You have to use your hands to place gasket carefully in place. Notice the images here. We're trying to illustrate that. So what happens is if you try to press it or if you try to roll it in place, the gasket will stretch. And when you cut a 16-foot piece of gasket and you roll it in place and you end up at 3 or 4 or 5 inches beyond the edge of the aluminum 16-foot channel, you realize that you've stretched that gasket, and gasket has memory and it'll stretch back, causing potential for leaks. So make sure you use your fingers to carefully place the gasket and press it into place. Polycarbonate details. There's a lot of information here to read and to review. I want to hit on some of the highlight points here. Cutting polycarbonate is as simple as using a panel-type blade. It's a very simple process, cuts easily. Make sure that you leave the lining on the film. The protective lining must remain on the film because that lining tells you which side of that panel is UV protected. So do not pull the lining off until you're complete with the project. What we recommend you do is use a razor blade and just simply cut back about an inch or so of the film as you're installing and fabricating. Leave the liner in place. Once the project is up and complete, then you can pull that top liner off, knowing that that UV protected or that ultraviolet side is displayed up and in the right position. Keep in mind that polycarbonate structured sheet expands and contracts. So refer to the manual for cut sizes. Give yourself a little bit of room for expansion contraction. It expands and contracts greater than glass. So be careful not to make the system too tight. Do not leave the liner exposed to direct sunlight. So that protective film, when you receive the panels, do not store these panels outside. Do not store them in direct sunlight. Make sure they're in a controlled environment prior to installation. What will happen is that the liners will actually bake onto the sheet and you'll have a damaged panel. So keep the liners on, keep the panels in a safe, dry, dark environment, and only pull that film off when you're ready to install. Capping details. Some of our systems come with a decorative cap or a protective cap that goes over the fasteners. So when placing the cap in, when you install in the cap, make sure you wrap it with a rubber mallet. Do not wrap it in the middle of the cap, as you will dent the cap. So just on the edges, and that'll snap it into place. And then go ahead and caulk accordingly on your aluminum corners if necessary. I'd like to talk a little bit more about the system specifics. We wanted to make this presentation to talk to you specifically, at least in more detail, about the Series 2500 standing seam solution that we have. There are some particulars that you need to know about that system that we'd like to get, make known. So this particular presentation starts out with that system. The Series 2500 is a standing seam batten panel. It's a great solution that we use for curved canopies as well as sloped. That's almost primarily used for those two applications. It's a great look, easy to install when done correctly. Once again, when you flash this system and you've got your base channel in place, make sure the flashing extends at least an inch or so above your base channel so that any water that might leak in will hit that flashing and work its way out. When the system is being assembled and fabricated, make sure to do some caulking where aluminum comes together, possibly installing some caulk first and then placing the two channels together and fastening. Again, if you desire, you can order base channel that already has weep holes drilled into it. Or if you prefer doing it yourself, you can order channels straight up and fabricate in the field accordingly. Series 500 batten system, before you start applying any gasket, make sure you blow out your, use compressed air and blow out your aluminum chips from the fabrication, the cutting process. The key to installing the batten system is as you get close to the base channel, in order to install the pressure plate that holds the system down, you have to cut back the leg of the standing seam, and that's illustrated here from left to right. So cut back that batten leg about an inch and an eighth to allow the cap to be installed properly. It's recommended also that you start in the middle of the canopy with your panels and work to the outside. That way you'll have a nice, clean project, evenly spaced project when you're complete. The batten panels use a clip. A clip goes up around over the top of the standing seam and clips to your purlin. Those come with your system. And then here's where the one place where you use caulk with the panels. When you cut that standing seam component back and out of the way so that you can install your pressure plate, this is where we would like you to caulk a little bit because, again, water can seep in here. So the extended flashing, a little bit of caulking, and your cap over the top will help ward off any water getting into your dripping through. But more importantly, if it does get in, it goes into your system and weeps out. And then again, finishing up by caulking along the joints of the aluminum if needed, if desired. And then on top of the standing seam, you see in the top photo here, the clip is in place, your pressure plate's in place. Now it's time to add the batten cap. Your batten cap should fit from edge to edge and just about a 1/4 inch short because there are little caps that go on the end of the batten. So as soon as you get that cap on there, that batten cap on, you put these end caps in place and you're good to go. Again, this batten can be installed with a rubber hammer. We talked about the Series 2500 because it's an important system. It's a common system. We want you to be aware of some of the pitfalls of that system. Each slide coming up, the next several slides, talk about each of our individual systems that we have available through ProStock. The Series 2500 is one of them. The next one here is the Series 3000. It's an illustration of what it looks like installed, some close-ups of the channel and the pressure plate and the base plate, illustrating a 25mm panel. This system is ideally suited for vertical applications only. It looks like a traditional storefront. Good for curtain wall, clear stories. Can be used on interior or exterior. Fully gasketed system, dry glazed, of course. And available in the toolbox will be fabrication manuals, installation manual, materials performance matrix, assembly drawings, detailed drawings in both CAD or PDF, and of course your order form. The next system is the Series 3100. We use this system, again, exclusively for, well, not necessarily exclusively, but we use it for sloped as well as vertical applications. It's okay to use on vertical. It's got exposed fasteners, so that's your call on that option. But notice it's a very low-profile system. It's designed to allow water to shed off easily off of a sloped canopy, as an example, or skylight. Generally, we recommend a 212 pitch minimum for this particular system. It can also use a 16 millimeter panel or a 25 millimeter panel. Again, in the toolbox are the same sets of professional documents for your reference. The Series 3200 is a lesser system, lesser in that it's not as robust, not as strong, but yet it's less costly as well. So it's a good solution for simple applications where you have enough structure to use, where snow loads may not be as strict, and it also can be. You can use a 20 millimeter panel, a 16 millimeter panel, and if necessary, we can actually use. This is the only system where we would use a 10 millimeter panel if desired. There's a little prefabrication that goes on with our base channel, but if a 10 millimeter works for your project, please let us know. A very popular system is our Series 3500. 3500 is our mullion-less system. It uses a tongue and groove panel. It is available in 40 millimeter panels, which are about an inch and a half wide, and 20 millimeter tongue and groove panels. If you notice the photograph here of a project at Fort Benning, Georgia, it was a clear story. There are no mullions. It's a simple system to install with a channel around the perimeter, and the panels go in place. They snap together. You can clear as much as 7 feet without any horizontal support, but once you get beyond that, you may need some horizontal support. There is a clip that's used that's integral to the panel and clips to your horizontal support structure. Notice the applications: curtain wall, clear story, storefront. You can use it for a great dividing wall on interior projects, obviously as well as exterior. Good light transmission, good R value, just general daylighting. A wonderful product for that purpose. The Series 1500 is a system. Actually, there's two styles of the Series 1500. One for a 20 millimeter panel, shown in this picture, backlit by some lighting, and one for a 40 millimeter panel. These are non-gasketed systems, 2-piece typically, or 3 maybe, simple to install, and used solely for interior applications, for partitions, half walls, that type of application. Now, we looked at a lot of our prime glazing and the interior system. We've looked at the prime glazing systems already, all gaskets, wonderful for that great look. We also have a series of systems designed for overglazing or for for lesser budgets. And the Series 1000 I-10 is a great example of a very simple system to install using a 10 millimeter panel. Great for retrofitting, great for overglazing old factory windows. Vertical applications primarily, and here's an illustration of its use. If you're looking for a slightly stronger system with a gasket, our Series 1200 EG16 is a very similar system. You can see it illustrated here with a 16 millimeter panel, but has a gasket that presses into place. Again, great for retrofit, overglazing, and prime glazing. And finally, we are Series 1000 E8, a very simple system, non-gasketed, used solely for retrofitting and overglazing, vertical applications. So simple that we don't provide a lot of information for it because we have a performance matrix, assembly drawing, and an order form. It's what you see is what you get, pretty straightforward. On our website, there's a key icon that you need to pay attention to. It's our toolbox icon. Dealers have access to a lot of proprietary information, drawings, spec pages, assembly manuals, and all this information can be found in the toolboxes. And this icon, you look for this icon, all the information you need will be with that logo. So we'd like to have you take a few minutes, read these questions based on this presentation, answer the questions, and fax us the results. Doing so will qualify you for an additional 5 or maybe 10% discount on your next order. So as long as you can illustrate that you have taken this presentation, taken this quiz, observed, how to use the material and the finer details of working with it based on this presentation, send us this questionnaire and we'll qualify you for additional discounts. We ask that you give us a call with any questions. We're available to work with you on any project for the most part. If it becomes such a complex project that we believe it should be in the hands of our architectural sales team, we'll forward it accordingly. This is a do-it-yourself type program with the value-added support of our AProstock team. You have the number there. Please give us a call for assistance at your convenience or when the next project comes up. Thank you very much.